For this panel discussion session on a topic using emotional intelligence to achieve business and education success. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce you all with our chairperson of the panel discussion, Dr. Antigonus Sakos, sir. He's a senior lecturer in the Department of Psychology, University of Bedfordshire, UK. He's a chartered psychologist and a associate fellow of the British Psychological Society. His main academic interests lie in attachment theory and the integration of psychodynamic and social psychological approaches. He's also the associate editor of WWA International Journal, also the recipient of the Dean of International Peace Prize 2018, and has published many papers in national and international journals. He has joined us virtually. Also, I'd like to give short introduction of our three panelists. So our first panelist is Mr. Matt Perlstein, co-founder, CEO, EQ for Peace Worldwide Inc. USA. He has been teaching, speaking, and writing about emotional intelligence for over 35 years in the USA and beyond. He believes that one of the biggest problems in the world today is the lack of emotional education. So he co-founded and runs an international nonprofit called EQ for Peace Worldwide Inc. They are teaching emotional and peace education to all ages everywhere, from preschool to PhD. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause as we explore, manage, and appreciate our emotions to help us with positive mental health and create peace in our lives inside and around us. He has also joined us virtually. Our next panelist is Mr. Adhika Ratna Sekhar, sir, Chairman and Managing Director, Balmer Lorry and Co. Limited, India. He has over 30 years of experience in leading multicultural organizations in human resource management, industrial relations, and administration, with hands-on experience in talent acquisition, talent management, organizational development, learning and development, and change management initiatives, 360-degree leadership development program, career and performance management systems, and performance counseling. He is here with us, physically present. So let's welcome him with a huge round of applause. And our next and third panelist is Professor Dr. Pyali Chatterjee, ma'am, Head Department of Faculty of Law, ICFAI, University Raipur, Chhattisgarh, India. She has completed her postdoctoral fellowship from Mediterranean University, Italy. Apart from teaching, she is very much inclined to the legal research arena. She has a very rich experience in research. She has published more than 40 research papers till date in Scopus Index journals, UGC recognized journal, foreign journals, etc. She is author of 4 books and has edited 1 book with other co-editors. She has presented more than 30 research papers in overseas conferences, national and international conferences like Italy, France, Amsterdam, Sri Lanka, Romania, Hungary, Malaysia, etc. So she has also joined us virtually. So let's welcome her with a huge round of applause. Now with this, I would like to formally request Dr. Antigonus Sakos, sir, to chair this session.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me to chair this this session, this panel. Very good to see you all, even online. Thank you very much to the panelists, to the distinguished panelists as well. So the way we will conduct this is that I would ask a question to each panelist, and then we will start.
Sir, please unmute your mic.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, sir.
Am I muted?
Now yes, you're audible now, sir.
Okay. So can I repeat everything then? I just said thank you very much for inviting me to chair this panel, and very good to see you all. So the way we're gonna do this is that I will ask a question to each of the panelists, and then we'll kick off the discussion like this. Okay. So I will start with Matt Perelstein. Very good to see you, Matt. I would like us to try a little bit more specific and a little bit more concrete, because the notion of emotional intelligence is a concept, and it can be a complex concept, but also it's a very applied concept. So I would like to focus on the applied side of things, and then we can understand the concept through its applications. I think that's the best way of doing it. So I would like to ask Matt, could you please tell us a little bit about emotional intelligence in the workplace? Let's focus on that, because also I have a particular interest in this, particularly in recent times. Emotional intelligence in the workplace. What does it mean to have emotional intelligence in the workplace, and what does it mean not to have? So could you give us specific examples also of how this happens? Emotional intelligence being present in the workplace and being absent.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Thank you, Antigonos. I appreciate your welcome and you being here. So let's see. What does it mean to have emotional intelligence in the workplace, and what does it look like if we don't, right? So I still have a day job, and I work like you do. And so I have to use my emotional intelligence. I'm pretty sure that I still have a job because I have emotional intelligence, actually. We have found that it is, we get hired usually for our IQ, but we keep our job or we get promoted for our EQ. And so what does it look like? What it depends on your level, but then it doesn't. It has to do with communication, how we talk to people, how we listen to people, how we kind of read between the lines, how we take things that, especially nowadays, the communications are often through email or through posts, and so they can be easily misconstrued. And so we have to, with higher emotional intelligence, we have to sometimes ignore things. Sometimes we have to twist it a little bit and say, well, maybe that's not quite what they meant, and kind of give them the benefit of the doubt instead of getting upset with people and getting our feelings hurt and getting fired off of fiery email back. A lot of times what I recommend with people is, if you are upset about something, to go ahead, you can go ahead and write the email, just don't send it. Don't send it, right? You can use, if you need to vent, go right ahead, but don't send the darn thing. And
that's a great idea.
Yeah. Right. It's for you. And so that's a small thing. Leadership, of course, loyalty, HR, customer service, all that kind of stuff is hugely based around emotional intelligence, getting along with people, listening to people, being able to understand people. To answer the second part, which is what does it look like when you don't have it? It is getting upset about things. It is firing things back quickly without too much forethought. It is going for the task. What we're trying to do now is to be person centered rather than so much task centered, if possible, is that you care about the person more, or at least first, and then the task second, right? So how you doing? You okay? Okay, so here's what we're working on. Okay, so is that okay with you? You kind of you don't overdo it, but you care about the person, not just the task. And so sometimes you have to be task oriented, but we're trying to put the person first. So anyway, I could go on and on, but I better not. So I'll be quiet.
Thank you.
Hope
Thank
that's
you very
helpful.
much, Matt. Can I ask Mr. Adigaratma Sekhar to tell us a little bit more specifically, let's say a relationship which is very interesting, and that can create a lot of problems as well. The relationship between the boss and the employee, right? So your line manager and the person that you line manage, because there is a hierarchical difference there, and when there's a hierarchy and a difference in the hierarchy between two people, there's a number of issues that can emerge there. So how does intelligence, emotional intelligence, or again the absence of emotional intelligence, how does it feel like in a relationship like that between the boss and an employee?
Doctor, it's a very relevant question. And then day in and day out, when we are dealing with our subordinates, we are facing this kind of issues in the workplace. One thing we should understand is this relation is managed. I mean, the way you manage the relations is very important. And an emotionally aware boss, the emotional intelligent quotient, whoever is the boss is having higher, will manage their team members better. See, we need to understand a person is coming to the work with his whole body. He is actually, if he is not doing his work with his whole body, if his mind is somewhere else, stuck in some problems, then he will not be able to perform better. So an emotionally intelligent boss, an emotionally aware boss will understand what kind of emotions his subordinate is undergoing and how can he lend a helping hand. That is what is very important. So this, this also has come out in the recent pandemic very clearly, that the people who are emotionally stable could have the resilient quotient more. And then once you are driven to the wall, you are bounced back. And then they are able to pull up the subordinates. And when adverse circumstances are there, then your real quality comes out when you are emotionally aware of yourself, and then you are aware of emotions of your subordinates, then you are able to bridge the gap between the performance gap and what is expected of him to meet the organization goals. So I clearly support that emotional quotient of the boss is very, very important to have a better relations at workplace for, bringing out the more productivity and higher performance. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let me ask Professor Payali Chatterjee, please. We work in similar environments, and I have plenty of examples from the UK higher education system. So could you please tell us, from your immediate experience, the role of emotional intelligence in the relationship between students and academic staff? What does it feel like there to have emotional intelligence? What does it feel to not to have? And give us some examples of lack of emotional intelligence in that relationship, in some interactions between students and staff.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. So first of all, we should understand that human beings are actually social animal. We are social animal. whether we talked about the environment in workplace, whether we talked about environment in school, colleges, institution, everywhere, all humans have a mixed emotion. So when we go to college or when we go to school, we had certain emotion with us, even though we know that we have to keep our emotion, whatever emotion we had to keep it at side while doing any kind of work. But the thing is that when we talked about emotional intelligence in school or workplace, it is very much important to understand that what actually emotional intelligence means in terms for a student. Emotional intelligence means in terms of academic. Emotional intelligence means in terms of a workplace, in terms of a leader. So according to your question, if you talked about a student, the first thing is that being an accommodation, being a teacher, you must know the emotions of your student. And that is only possible when you talk to your student. If he or she is coming with a problem to you, then in that case, you should always listen to your student. That is the empathy. Because when you give an opportunity to your students so that they can come to you, they can speak about your problem, you will be understand what kind of emotional problem they are facing, what kind of issues they are having. So once they had a habitude of open up with their problem, when they communicate their issues with their elders, with their teachers, with their friends, in that case, you will be able to understand about the psychology. And once you understand the psychology of a student, then you will be able to tackle their issue. And even if they're in some kind of problem, you will be able to solve it and to prevent that student to enter with some kind of bad, environment. That also you can protect. So the first important thing is that empathy. Your student, your faculty, your department should create such a kind of environment where everyone should communicate with others. That is the important part, which I feel that nowadays, most of us, we don't open up with others. And that is one of the reasons for the increasing of the psychological issue also. And somewhere, because I am a law professional, and particularly I belongs from a criminal background, my specialization from criminal background, I have seen that during research also, one of the major problems nowadays is that pupils, they don't open up whatever they're having in their mind, they just keep it up in their mind only. And maybe this is the reason at certain point of time, they burst and do such kind of thing, which is not good for them and for the others also. So open up or empathy is one of the important character, one of the important part which everyone should have in their life. That should be important for a student, for an accommodation, and for a good leader also.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Very interesting remarks. Now, we talked about emotional intelligence being a property of a person, a capacity that a person has or doesn't have, and also how this property can become how this capacity can become a capacity between two people. That is a capacity of an interaction. So you have two people who have or do not have emotional intelligence and then interact, and therefore emotional intelligence becomes a characteristic beyond the individuals, but it becomes a characteristic of the relationship, a characteristic of the interaction, which there are specific interactions that can enhance it or can be a barrier to an emotional intelligent conversation and emotional intelligent interaction. Now, I would like us please to talk a little bit now about emotional intelligence at the level of the organization, because in my experience, I think that I have found that you can talk about an entire organization as being emotionally intelligent or as lacking emotional intelligence. In other words, I think the organization as a whole, as the organization operates, its culture, its processes, everything about it, can enhance or can prevent emotional intelligent interactions between its staff. So you can be an emotional intelligent person, but you can work in an organization that has not have emotional intelligence, and then you start interacting your emotional intelligence in the interactions cannot be expressed, or at least it cannot be expressed properly. It's inhibited. So I would like us to talk a little bit about that. Emotional intelligence as a property of an organization. Matt, what are your comments? What are your thoughts of that? And what are the characteristics of an organization as a whole that promotes emotional intelligence and prohibits it?
You want me to go first again?
Yes, please.
Well, one thing I can give you a good example is the company that I work for is now making a big push. They have done some extensive surveys. We have 79,000 employees. We've done some extensive surveys within our corporation and have found that that emotional intelligence is a lot more important than everybody thought it was, which is very cool. I'm very proud of us. I didn't make that happen, but still, I'm happy about it. So what we do now is we have town hall meetings like once a month, and people can bring up issues that they need to and discuss things. People can give kudos, can give compliments to each other. It used to be just a top-down thing where you got a benefit or a nice wording from somebody up above, but now we can do it to each other, which is pretty cool. Including if it's good enough that it can be have a financial reward to it. So that's pretty neat. We also are offering part of people's gosh, I'm losing it. Sorry. Part of our when they evaluate how well you're doing, they are doing it based on whether you care or not, and whether you are fitting in as a team member or not. So they EQ component to that. And then lastly, what I was impressed with is they took away our vacation. They took away our vacation, which sounds, everybody goes, whoa, and they made it unlimited. We have unlimited paid time off, which means that if you have your stuff done and it's okay with you and your boss, you can take as much time as you need to. Just get your stuff done and make sure it's done. And so that I was pretty impressed with that. So there's some positive examples.
Okay, thanks very much. Mr. Ratna Sekar, what are your thoughts of that, and particularly, could you tell us a bit about the role of leadership in an organization? What happens if the leaders of an organization do not have emotional intelligence?
Yeah, very apt question. Actually, there was a study conducted by Center for Creative Leadership, which says 75% of careers are derailed for reasons related to emotional competencies, including inability to handle interpersonal problems, unsatisfactory team leadership during times of difficulty or conflict, or inability to accept, to change, or elicit trust. I would like to quote my own experience, and this is very well true. I represent a company called Bamalari and Company, which is a public sector undertaking under Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas in India. We have around 3,000 employees, and only public sector which has both, diversified into services business as well as manufacturing business. And during the pandemic, the services business got affected. When I say services business, especially we are into travel and vacations business, where we make holiday packages, where we make travel tickets for the government employees as well as individuals who are interested. But as you know, pandemic has created a vacuum, and then this travel industry has gone bad, and then there was no work for around 200 employees. Okay, so what I need to do with these 200 employees? If I let them go, I will not be able to have when the travel resumes back after the pandemic. Pandemic is a passing one, so I need to have continuous conversations. At the same time, I also had taken certain financial measures to mitigate the loss, because there was a lot of cost which is involved. But at the same time, we were actually got in touch with the employees, explained them about the problems what we are facing, and we have not actually reduced 100% salary, but we reduced 75% of salary. But then what we did is we strengthened our systems. We strengthened our IT backbone. Now I came out with a portal for government employees who can sit at the desk and then book his ticket. And we also revamped a lot of systems. We were booking tickets from each branch, which came down to 4 zonal points. From 4 zonal points to I brought it down to one single single place where the tickets can be booked. That means information flow from each of the places. But then because of the IT backbone, IT system, I'm able to deliver the services to the customers from one place. This has resulted in not only revenue leakage and some other misappropriations, but the work was getting done faster. Then we also conducted some training programs for these employees. When the business becomes normal, they are able to get more business, and then which is actually I'm able to see the results. First 2 quarters of this year is phenomenal. And then I was having 30 crores loss, rupees 30 crores of Indian rupees loss. Now it is turned into 17 crores profit for this year. What I am trying to tell you here is leadership has a very pivotal role when the difficult times are there. It needs to emotionally have balanced mind. It needs to have what is there in the future. It has to have continuous communication. As Madam said, we need to open up. We need to tell them what is the right thing and where we are. And then what we need to do, go where we are, we have to go tomorrow. So this was resulted in me. Now this 2 quarters, my travel business is doing excellent and the things are going up. Things are going up. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Professor Chatterjee,
Yes, sir.
it's not only the leadership of the organization, but it is the entire culture of the organization that can also sustain, enhance, or can prevent emotional intelligence in an organization to flourish. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about the role of the organization culture? And if you could give
Yes,
us
sir. Sure, sir.
some examples.
So here also I would like to give one example which we particularly follow in our university. We
Yeah.
had a concept of mentor-mentee year. Mentor-mentee year means where one faculty is entrusted with 10 or 20 students. And every week, one day is fixed where the faculty will be interact with all those students and we have to maintain data. On that particular day, the faculty who is interested with that, she or he has to talk with the student. The student has to she or he will be while talking with the student, they will just come up with is there any kind of issues or any kind of problem with the student is facing, any kind of financial issues in their home, about the home environment, about the academic environment, everything we just try to get out from that particular student. Once we are done with that, all those things, then we all faculty sit together and we generally used to talk about the student progress. And the same thing happened with us also. Not every, but after every a month end, we had a meeting with our administrative head where we discuss about our issues also. If we are facing any kind of administrative problem, academic issue, then we discuss this with our administrative head so that he or she can understand our and he can solve it. Because once we discuss all this thing, whatever we are facing with our administrative head, then only we are able to convey that message to our head. And by this, what we are doing, we are cleaning our environment also, working environment also, not only for the student, but for ourselves also. So that is the reason I said that communication is one of the important factor. And it is a solution of all problem also, whether it's a workplace or it's an academic. So that is the reason it's very much important that the administrative head, they should also understand that the faculty or the staff, they can also, they might also have some issues. They also might open up with them. That is, there should be a space where you, the faculty should come, the staff should come, any kind of staff, they should come to you. You have to create that environment for everyone. So environment is very much important. And the next thing is the communication. So it's upon you that how you are creating the environment for others.
This is very important. Thank you very much. This is very important. I mean, culture doesn't fall from the sky. Culture is created by the organization itself, through processes, through specific processes that enhance it or prohibit it. And also emotional intelligence.
Yeah, if we talked about Darwin theory, that survival of the fittest, this pandemic has proved that now the person with high emotional intelligence can only survive. And that is only possible when we give such kind of environment that every staff, every student, they should survive the environment where they're working. Even nowadays, if we see the Japan culture, we all know about the Japanese work culture, that how they work there, what kind of work environment they're having. But now they have also understand about the drawback. So now they're also improving their work culture, that every staff while working there, when they are giving their time for working under an organization, they must get a suitable environment where they can communicate with the employee. If they want to take leave, they must get the leave happily, so that they can use that leave. You are getting a leave, but in that leave also you are getting call, you are getting email that you have to send this report, you have to call this person. That leave has no use of it. Leave here means mental satisfaction. You must get a mental satisfaction. So that is only possible when you get that environment.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It looks like we've run out of time. I think we are 1:30, isn't it? A bit beyond that in Nepal. I still have 8 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. So I think we need to finish it here. I would like to thank the panelists very much. Very interesting comments, very interesting ideas as always. Mr. Matt Perlenstein, Mr. Adhika Ratmasekar, and Professor Piali Chatterjee. Thank you very much for your contributions in this very interesting panel. And I hope I see you again in the near future.
Thank you, respected
everyone.
dignitaries,
Thank
for
you.
sharing
Thank you.
your
Thank you all.
Thank you very much all.
valuable insights on
Thanks.
emotional intelligence. Now, I'd like to request Dr. Desmordan Bosnet, sir, President of WWA and International Organizing Secretary of 10th Conference, to distribute the token of appreciation to our panelists and, of course, our chairperson of this session. Desmordan, sir, are you here? Since Mr. Matt Perlestein and Professor Dr. Piali Chatterjee is not here with us physically, so we'll be showing the token of appreciation virtually. So the first token of appreciation we'll be providing to Mr. Matt Perlestein.
Thank you. That's very nice. I appreciate you having me, and appreciate you doing all what you do, IDM, and making this happen. It's a beautiful thing.
So we are showing it online. Still, let's give a huge round of applause. Okay, next, we are providing the token of appreciation to Professor Dr. Piali Chatterjee, ma'am. Now, I'd like to request Dr. Desmordan, sir, to provide the token of appreciation to Mr. Adhika Ratlas Sekhar, sir. Give a huge round of applause. Last but not the least, I would like to request Desmordan sir to provide the certificate to Dr. Antigona Sokas sir virtually.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, our session has been concluded. Now we are having a cultural program organized by Samriddhi Education Foundation and Kathmandu Business Campus.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.